Okay. All right. I just need to highlight the 4CL again because it will be in your test and also in your final exam, and also in your assignment. So CL1, CL2 will be in your test 1, question 1, question 2, and then CL3, CL4 will be in your test 2, question 1, question 2, and then final exam will cover all these CL. 5 question, compulsory 3 question, right? So very high chances CL3 I will ask in a question 4, question 5. Okay. So we are a little bit behind schedule because we are in a short semester. Tentatively, our test 1 will be in week 4. We're now in week 2. So it will cover up to, if can, I want to up to chapter 4, but I think I will ask until chapter 3, which is if can today we cover up to chapter 3. Okay, then at least you have some time to look on the test 1. All right. Then your test 2 will be in week 7. Right. Then your final exam will be between 27 July to 3rd August. Okay, we continue chapter 2. Those maybe this is your first class. So Canvas, inside Canvas, there are lots of information there. So every lecture you will receive, I will upload the PDF, PowerPoint slide inside there, and also the lecture recording. They also will help you to make some notes during the lecture. I also include the tutorial question inside there. Right. Okay, chapter 2, we will start to look into a position called project manager. So if in the slides, later slide, you see PM. PM, it means project manager. Capital P, capital M, it means project manager. Right. So we start to look into project management. We look into all these things. Okay. Now, a famous concept called over the fence management. Concept of over the fence management. Now, over the fence management is an old concept where you imagine this guy, the project manager, he's wearing a hat. So a hat means a role or a task, right? A role. So every time it throw over the hat, right? You throw over the hat means you will pass the projects to other people. Okay. Concept over the fence management, it means when the project complete or the task, in this case we use the word project lah. So when the project complete, the project manager will throw his hat away over the fence. Then whoever in charge of that project will be the one who holding the hat. And then the one that throw, he no longer hold any responsibility on that. Okay, so this is a concept of over the fence management. Yeah, so the line manager will wash their hand in any responsibility of the project because the ball no longer in their yard. So this is the first concept for today lah. All right. Okay, nowadays we still have some company practicing this one. We call it culture, but with IoT, with software management software, basically you can see everything's on one website or one. So basically, nowadays we work as a team, right? Teamwork. But this is a very old concept, which is important for project management. Okay. Then after that, this for the question. It means once the project manager throw over the head, the victim, I use the word victim. The victim will be the customers because the contact point keep changing. Okay. Means the customer, maybe the information, the contact number is the previous project manager, but the project manager already hand over, means throw over the head to other people already. So when the customer call the previous project manager, the project manager only say, oh, this is not on my table anymore. You need to call this person. Then maybe the new guy here also throw over the fence. So you throw to other guy. So you say, okay, I in charge of this project maybe last week, but this week no longer on my table. So you need to call this guy. It's like it will create frustration for the people lah. Okay. Something like that lah. Okay, but yeah, so this is the weakness lah. The weakness, it will be no single contact point for the question, right? So and then by 1950 to 1960s, the in America lah, DoD, Department of Defense, or any the National Space Agency. So they find that this concept of over the fence is not effective. So when they build fighter jets or spacecraft, you cannot do this concept because you might lose a lot of time and your project might drag. So what they do is that they're improving the project management with the new one, with the current one, right? So what they do, starting in those defense department, what they do is that they have an informal method. What I mean by informal method is that informal method means that they work as a team, but they do not have a formal communication. What does this mean? It means that, okay, let's say you are in charge of project A, I'm project B. So some of my project, I need your help. So I just go to your office and we reach a negotiation. Okay, you help me in this case, I help you in this case. Right? So in the early 1960s, they maintain an informal method where they go and communicate within the company. Right? So the authority of the PM, project manager, is minimized, and most project was handled by function manager. Function manager, you can say as a department head, right? A very specialized department, right? So still, the authority remain at a functional manager. So there's a difference between project manager and functional manager. Functional manager, you imagine as a head of department, head of that specialized department, right? So project manager, there's someone it's come in just to manage the projects. Okay. All right. So for the informal method, the key to success is the communication between project manager and the function manager, because it's informal. You need help of each other. Okay. Okay. Right. So you need to okay. So this is informal method, and the keyword for informal project method is that you need a good working relationship between function manager and the project manager. Okay, why? Because in this informal method, the authority of the PM is minimized. You don't have a say, so you need to use the relationship to keep the project running. Okay. Then as it progress on, the complexity grow and the size grow. For example, space exploration, you go for moon and then you go for other planets. You start building farther complex equipment. So you need more. Your team is growing, right? So these are the two prominent department start to improve the project management method. So this one, 1980s, they start to formalize the project management as we learn or we practice today. Okay. So they start to practice what we learn. We are going to learn in the project management. So they has a formality that force the contractor or the seller to do things. Okay. So, and then as we grow, 1990s, they focus more on the project completion time. They want to work, implementing project management is a necessary and it's not a choice. So they need, it become a compulsory that you need to practice project management in organization, and then they focus on the time. So in the later chapter, chapter 4, chapter 5, you start to have a diagram and to calculate the shortest time to complete the projects. Okay. So this is you can read this one from the slides. The life cycle phase of project management maturity. So they have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So there's an embryotic. Embryotic means small baby, small. If you study biology, you know lah. The first cell. Sorry. Later. There is one specific chapter for you to calculate. Yes. We will come to that chapter. So it's quite fun, and also it will take you a lot of time solving that particular question, right? So you have all these phases. You have embryo, executive, line management, growth phase, and maturity phase. This one you read lah. Okay. Now, and then later people start to formalize, and then they discover the benefit and of the project management. This one also you read. I won't go through the every line, right? So I want to highlight one thing is that the profit stability. Company want to make money. So when you practice project management, the profit or ROI, return of investment, increase. Right, the rest you read. One is money, one is time. Okay. Quality increase and so on. Right. Then there is a financial crisis. 2008 housing market crunch in this one, and then some companies start to have trouble. Right. So here, when the market crash or there's economic downturn, they start to discover, oh, actually project management will make the company survive because you have a lots of way to solve problem, and even you can predict, or actually there's one problem coming in, so you can stop before the problem happen. So prevention, you can start very early in the project management. So the question now is become, how long will it take us to achieve this benefit? So you have money, cost versus time. Cost versus time. So the gray here, the gray line here is the cost of projects. As you grow, let's say this is the starting point of your projects, then the clock start running or the project start running already. So the cost of project management will increase if you make changes between this line, right? So, and then it will drop and then it will fix, right? So this gray line is what we want to achieve, where if you can reduce the cost and achieve in the shortest time to complete your projects, right? And you go out. So why this curve go up? Because the expenses will grow as you develop the projects, right? Okay. So eventually, when you reach the end phase or nearly finish, then the cost will maintain. Okay. So the question here is here, the point at which the benefit equal to the cost of implementation. This one is different from one company to another company and project to project. But this is the point of interest where the project manager need to decide whether go or no go, whether this project will benefit the company or it will bring some there's some risk that you need to manage. Okay. All right. Now this is also a diagram where later we will go into project driven and non-project driven. Right. So this is a simplified diagram, will help you to elaborate points during test or final exam. Okay. Now, why was project management also difficult for company to accept or implement? So if you go to project driven, so project driven here, you have PM means project manager has P&L, profit and loss responsibility. So he's need to make sure the project, of course, make money lah, and minimize the loss. So PM, project manager, is recognized profession if you are project driven company or management, and you have a multiple career path. Why multiple career path? You as a project engineer, basically you know everything about the projects. You have to know budgeting, you have to know engineering, you have to know scheduling and all this, right? So once the project done, your capability also, people will know whether you're good or not. So maybe your supplier will see, oh, this guy is very good, so they will hire you, or maybe your boss appreciate you, see, oh, this is a good PM, so why don't we promote him so that he can train more effective manager. So income come from projects. This is under project driven. So these are all the point. If the question asks you, what is the project based or project driven project management? So these are the point that you need to elaborate. Then non-project one. Non-project one, why is difficult? Because you don't have enough projects. So then the company will use non-project driven approach. Then probably profit will come from your production. It will go into the functional line or line, the line production, right? Then large bricks wall. This one, large bricks wall. This one is communication. Is there might be communication breakdowns. The functional manager or functional line might not want to share the resources, because project manager, he just manage project, right? So we need to use a lot of good relationship to maintain the projects. And it's for a long life cycle product. This one is a continuous production products. So then it will be a non-project driven, right? So it depends on the nature or characteristic of the projects. It can become mixture of both. Then it become hybrid. Okay, it become hybrids. So this one you read lah, become hybrids. Okay. So this one you read. Okay. So one bad things for project management, if the company apply non-project driven, project management might not view as professional. Hybrid, this one you read lah. Okay. One thing I need to highlight is hybrid usually apply for R&D projects. Okay. So second factor contributing to is economy. Is economy between 79, 83, 89, 93. So as you can see here, it's simplified in the diagram. So during the first recession, the layoff means the boss fired lots of blue collar. There's a blue collar and white collar. Blue collar means those technician, supervisor, those technical guy. White collar means those management or those supervisor and all this, right? So a lot of this one is more on factory lah, more on factory, all this. So during the recession, layoff, blue collar, R&D cancelled, training eliminate, solution sort was all they look for short-term solution. They want to get money, right? So and then the other recession is the white collar. So recession, when the recession in this one, they start to focus on white R&D trainings and long-term sort, right? Okay. So many phases of success. This one, definition of success in project management is to meet customer. At the end, it's the customer who pay the bills, right? So project management, you focus on customer expectation. Customer, you have internal and external. So here, internal means department, your work colleagues and so on. So another one is the time, cost, and quality. So if you combine these two statements, so success is defined as a point on the time, cost, quality, performance grid. Okay, so there's a graph. If you plot the graph, so how you define a success, so it will be plotting cost, time, and then the quality, performance grid. It can be 2D or 3D graph. So 2D one is more easier, cost, time, and then the quality improve, right? So 3D one, you'll have a cost dimension or time dimension expand. Right? So this is a definition. So it's also important during your test or final exam, which is section A asks you about definition, right? Yeah. Are you the correct class? Okay. All right. So a single point of time, cost, quality will be a point within the cube consisted of convergence of critical success factor, CSF. We call it CSF, critical success factor of the projects. So it's 1 point within the graph here. But what is important is the definition. Okay, it's a definition. You can either write all this side or this side also can same. You can either use this one, but you have to when you write this one, it's good that you draw this graph. So either you use this one or you use this one. Okay, if the question asks you what is the definition of success in project management, either you use these two paragraph or you use this side, you this short statement, but you support with a graph. Can. As long as your axis is cost, time, and then there's a quality. Okay, the cube, this one is a three-dimensional, is a cube. Maybe you don't need to worry much lah. Cube is just the range of success. It means you stay within the time. So sometimes the project manager, they need to make the adjustment in the cost. Right, so if 2D one is the very direct lah, is the board color orange one. Okay, but sometimes you have a very rich box, you say cost is not a problem, but it will drag a lot of time, but success also. So that's why you see there's a dot here, that within this range, it means success also. It means that. So this one, if you follow this bold color orange line, it means you have to exactly meet the point. Then only success. So if you have a flexibility, then you become the cube already. If you, as long as you stay within the cube range, then, or you can say it's the area of the graph here, then it also defined as success, because definition of success, you look at the time, cost, quality, performance grid. So you have three constant there. Okay. So in a project success, you have primary and secondary definition of success. So primary one is what we learned just now. You look at the time, cost, quality, and then accept by customers. So this is the primary success factor. Secondary, you read lah. Secondary one is expansion of what is this. So basically is how you achieve within time, how you achieve cost, how you achieve quality, how you make your customer happy. It's an elaboration of the primary factor. So for example, you follow on work from this customer. So you follow on, you make your customers happy. So it's a customer factor here, you just explain. And then OSHA requirement, this one, when you comply with OSHA, your cost will be reduced. Why? Because OSHA is a work safety. So if there's no injuries, you save a lot of medical costs, right? For example. Okay, so this one you read. Okay, so just to summarize, on the left-hand side, primary one is you make your customer happy lah. So secondary one is more on the internal management, your internal benefit. Okay. Okay, so this is another elaboration on the graph just now. So it depends on whether your customer happy or not happy lah. Even though in the customer side, you achieve at 86 marks out of 100 achievement, but the customer happy, you still consider success. For example, this number is just a random number. You just want to highlight making your customer happy is important in project management. Okay, now customer here, it can be internal and external. Because you are looking at, for project manager, if I want to talk to engineering department might be my customers. Because it's internal, right? So external is your customers lah, normal one. Which one? It depends on the definition of project management. So if I'm a project manager, customer is the one who I deal with, right? So if I deal with you, you are my customers. All right. In project management, there is no colleagues. In project management, it's only deal with some entities, right? For example, customers, time, and all this. They don't use the word colleagues. And they for example, colleagues, the other words that I found is the function manager. Okay. Or top management. Okay. Okay. So this one you read lah. So there is a definition for project, program, success also. So what is projects? What is programs? What is success? Okay. So this one you read lah. Okay. If the question asks you, I will let you know. Then you study this diagram. Okay. Okay. But most probably, success already mentioned just now. So you just memorize lah. Whichever. I think this one is the you remember the definition that I showed in the slide earlier, right? So it just tell you what is the changes as times go. Okay. So if you stay within the cube but miss a point, is that a failure? So the answer is no. Still need to refer to your customers. As long as your customer feel happy, customer think that you are successful, then you're successful. All right. Okay. So simplify, what is failure? Failure defined as unmet expectation. So it's the opposite of success. You just change the word of meet to not meeting that word. Okay. Okay. So failure, sometimes we use planning failure because of poor performance and all this. Okay, failure, we have two types of failure. One is a perceived failure. Okay, perceived failure is a sum of actual failure and planned failure. Okay, before we go into this, there's a diagram you need to get familiar with because it's a diagram and this is the way we know we assess you whether you understand or not understand. Right? So if the question asks you what is perceived failure, the first thing you draw this diagram. So there's a point A, point B, point C, point D, point E. So there's a is a none, B is the actual accomplishment. This is accomplishment. Is accomplishment. So if you have actual, plan, achievement, achievable, then you have perfection, mean perfect. So for perceived failure is the net sum of actual failure and planning failure. So your plan here, actual is here. So means your projects you plan over here. You plan reach until point only B. So you have on the left hand side of the diagram means you are under perceived failure. Means negative lah. You get a negative. You go to the left. Okay. So this is the region where if you have actual and achievable, this is actual failure. This is a planning failure. So you have plan, but achievable is here. So there's a gap between achievable and plan is called planning failure. So sometimes if the question in section A asks you a certain definition, you draw a diagram and then you say, okay, you label, you also get point even without any single explanation. You can just draw this diagram and then you just label what does it means for that particular word. Okay. Okay, so means the actual achievement is here, but you plan to reach C. You're not actually you're not catching up with the plan, your plan. C plan achievable is your planning failure. Means you actually you can achieve more, but you only plan less. Okay. Yes. So it depends on capacity lah, for example. So yeah. So there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. So it's important you as a project manager or product management, you have to understand your company very well. You have to know the point of achievable. This will become your reference point actually. So if you do something, you plan below what you're capable, you are planning failure. Then you achieve below what you plan is perceived failure, and the gap between achievable and the actual is actual failure. Okay. Okay. So and if this case is called perceived failure, so I give you two diagram. So if you are the first scenario, is that the first diagram you see is under pessimistic planning. So project management, you have a level of accomplishment with C, then the achievable resources D, right? So if you are in the first diagram here, you're under pessimistic. Okay. Pessimist means you achieve less than what you plan. Actually what you plan. Another scenario on the bottom here, if you compare side by side, what is the differences? So the diagram below here is optimistic planning. So the below one here is over planning. The above one, this one is under planning. Under plannings. So you see what changed? The point changed already. The above one plan is before achievable. But below one, your plan is more than what you achieve. Okay, so there's a difference. Try to differentiate. Pessimistic means you plan below what you can achieve. But for over planning is you plan more than what you can achieve. Huh? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Now, the question to you is, what is the definition of perceived failure? Okay. You see the diagram. What is the for the first one? What is perceived failure? You take plan and actual, right? You take you take the record. Yeah, you take actual and plan. It become your perceived failure. So if your plan you drag until more than what achievable, you take the point of plan and actual. Same with above. So that's why it's stretched a bit longer. Okay. The what is changing? What is different between pessimists and optimists is the planning point. The planning and the actual is switch place. Okay. So when you do over planning, also not good lah. Okay. Okay, so nowadays, all the tools nowadays, he will prompt you error and all this. It's based on the planning failure, which is here. So again, you as a project manager, you have to understand your company or your projects very well, or your team very well. You have to know the achievable point. Where is your achievable point? So how do you, the next question is, you as a project manager, how will the planning failure get here? Either you are pessimistic or optimistic. Okay, so you try to reduce this gap lah. If you are pessimistic, you try to reduce this gap. Okay, so means you close down this gap with this C and D point. Same here, C and D point. You close this gap. Okay. So later there's a tools for you to reduce this one. Okay. So this one you read. In the studies, 1980s, lots of project fail because of all this lah, because of plannings, schedule, estimating costs, and all this. And the customers keep changing the what they want. Okay. These are all the histories lah. Okay. All the histories. This one you read lah. Okay. Okay. So risk management component, you have a new graph here. Performance, y-axis, time, x-axis. So you have two important arrow here. One is your actual performance. One is customer expectation. So again, project management is focused on customers. So just now on the graph here, there's a 5 point there. So on this graph, for the risk management component of failure, you're looking at the gap between actual performance and customer expectation. So you have this large gap here. This large gap here, there's an arrow here. It just means that you have two components. It just means that you have two components. right? So the gap of actual performance and customer expectation is because of these two big problems. Either you technically inability, means you are using low tech equipment and all this, or you have a very poor risk management. It's a combination give you the gap. Okay. So if you ask me, sir, can I put poor management at the bottom? Can. Can I put technical inability above? Can. It's just that this graph is just tell you that the gap between actual performance and customer expectation, it can be due to these two. It means that actual performance is here, customer expectation, how you increase from here to here. There are two ways for you to solve. One, you increase your technical dimension or your technical department, or once you increase your technical things, you improve your management, your product management, then it will reach the expectation. No, and this graph actually is no, there is no like bigger, smaller. It just tell you that these are two factors that give you the gap between here and here. Yeah, let's say your company, you have a very low tech equipment, but the customer want you do more high tech things. So the gap will be higher. Lah. This one will be higher. Yes. So, but important is these two keyword here. Lah. So maybe your factory already have a very high tech equipment already. So this one will become less. You need to improve on your project management. Risk management. Sorry, not project management, risk management. Okay. Okay. This most, I think we will stop at here. Then we continue 9 o'clock. Okay, we stop here. We continue 9 o'clock.